Hey! Yeah, I
Can you
feel
hear
it.
me? We're good? Hi.
Yes, I can hear you. We in.
Hello.
Perfect. Hello. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank
Much
you for having me.
appreciated.
Sorry
Do
that
you
Anthony
like
couldn't
to
be
go
here.
by, would you say?
Sorry that Anthony couldn't be here.
Oh yeah, I know. That would have been fire. That would have been the whole trifecta. Um, do you like to go by Slug or Sean?
I don't care. Whatever is easier to say, because some people don't want to call me Sean, and some people don't want to some people feel weird calling me Slug. So I don't really care. Whatever, however we were introduced or whatever best.
Whatever.
Yeah.
They're both one syllable, so they're just as easy to say, really. You know. How did you get the name Slug, by the way?
Uh, it was suggested to me, um, by old homie, and the thing was, my father's nickname was Sluggo. So it was one of those things where I was like, man, how come I never thought to use that as my rapper name? Sometimes the, the obvious things, you don't see them because you're too busy staring at everything
Right.
else. You don't see what's right in front of your face. Because I had a lot of
Makes
rap
sense.
names. You know, I went through a lot of different rap names before I finally ended up here.
What were some of them?
My favorite one was just Sean One. I had read once that MC Shan chose the name Shan instead of his real name, which is Sean, because Shan sounded better. And I totally relate to that. Like, Sean didn't sound that cool. But when I put a one after it, Sean One was all right. But also, my spelling of Sean is Sean. And a lot of people, especially as a kid, a lot of people didn't know how to say that. They all called me Scene. And so,
Right.
Sean One probably was not going to be the name. I called myself S1 for a while. Also, I was trying to be a DJ back then, so it was a little bit different than being a rapper, because when you're a rapper, you could say your name to emphasize or to get people to be familiar with what your name is. But when you're a DJ,
Mm-hmm.
you don't get to repeat your name all the time. And so
Right.
I had to find something that that I didn't have to pronounce for you. So Sean One wasn't going to be tight. So I went with S1, which was kind of dope because there was a scratch I used to do off of a Public Enemy record where Chuck D would say, "And to my rescue, it was the S1W," and I used to scratch. To my rescue, it was the S1. It was
Mm-hmm.
that was the only reason to use that name, though. There was no other good reason to fuck with that name either.
Sometimes that's all you need to
A
like
name is
to let
important.
something stick for.
A name is important when you are choosing a name that's not your name. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if you're gonna use a pen name, or you got a name for being a rapper or being a DJ or a breakdancer or whatever, you want a good name, because it's like you have the freedom to pick your name. So if you pick something stupid, it's like you could have chose anything. Why would you choose something that's not tight? You know what I mean? So
I feel that.
I'm glad Slug stuck. I'm glad that one stuck around.
Have you this is really random and I was not expecting to ask this, but that's how it happens. Have you accumulated a lot of like random facts about slugs over the years?
You know what? Not really. But people send me stuff all the time, especially like on Twitter or something. People will send me links like, "Look
Yeah.
at this slug glows in the dark," or people love to send me shit about slugs and beer. As far as like gardening, you can use beer to deter with your cabbage and shit. Um, that's that's pretty ironic, actually.
So
Uh,
slugs do not like beer. They don't have a penchant for cerveza.
no, I think they go and they get in the beer and they stay in the beer. I think it draws them in, and they never get out of the beer. You put a cup of beer out there, and all the slugs go to the beer instead of to the cabbage.
I feel like that's a song for you because you talk a lot about insects and like the
Oh
afterlife.
man,
I
are
just
you
realized this
serious?
today.
What do you mean? I talk a lot about.
Well, because the waitress to me is like the craziest, like that imagery. It's about a homeless man going to this. What'd you say?
I said you sound like Ant right
Hello?
now. He'll come. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, I
Are you
can hear
there?
you.
Okay.
What'd you say
Uh,
about Ant?
I I said you sound like Ant right now. Because he'll be like, why you keep bringing up animals or insects? Why you keep talking about, you know, baby birds and shit? And it's like, he's like, why is this in your raps? And I don't know. It didn't used to be. It's because I started having kids again, and you got to read children's books to them. And so in all the children's books, there's like bugs and animals and shit like that. So
That okay. So you get inspired by that. That makes sense.
yeah, because
Um,
I hate
yeah,
insects.
because in
I
The
don't like
Waitress,
insects. What did I say in The Waitress
so
about an
you don't
insect?
actually want to be reincarnated as a cockroach in someone's tip.
Oh, but that wasn't
That's
about a
not actually
bug
a reality you
necessarily.
want.
Yeah, of course not. Yeah, but okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, what's funny is I just watched Men in Black 2 nights ago with a couple of my kids. It was their first time seeing it, and the villain in that movie is a big ass cockroach, and that shit was disgusting.
Hmm.
Even with the outdated CGI, that shit was disgusting. I forgot.
Yeah, no, not they're not cute. That's not. Cause oh no, this was the other line. Cause I was just listening to your new album again, which by the way is amazing. Like a totally different sound. I feel like
Oh, Anthony
like
killed it. He did a really good job.
yeah, he was in his bag for sure. Let him know.
Couldn't keep up. I did my best to
But
hide
yeah, in
to
there
hide
you
the
talk.
fact that I couldn't keep
What'd
up.
you say?
I did my best to hide the fact that I couldn't keep up with him on this one. He
Oh,
he was he was steps ahead of me on this one.
I think you did a good job though. I think that that's a personal insecurity. We don't see it.
I
It seems
appreciate
like a
that.
level playing field for sure.
That's that's very kind of you to say.
No, for real. Because in it you talk about you go, y'all can eat me and suck out my skeleton after I climb into that hole and go to heaven. I guess that's not really a line about insects, but I imagine like insects eating your skeleton in a
Yeah,
way.
like yeah, worms crawl in, the worms crawl out, the worms crawl in the snout or some shit like that. Like when you
Oh,
die.
okay, so that is actually from a children's song.
I don't know if that's a children's song, man. That shit was scary. That was a traumatic song. You shouldn't sing that shit to your kids. Um, but
What song is that? I've never
I
heard it.
I don't remember. It was like some song about what happens when you die. You know, uh, the decomposing and the
Okay.
worms. I don't remember. I have no fucking idea. But that's me. I never have an idea.
The ideas have you,
Oh.
is what happens. You know?
What about
Um,
you? What are you working on right now?
what am I working on right now?
Yeah.
I'm working on writing some treatments right now for peeps. Um, but yeah, I just got signed to a good company, so I'm moving
Congratulations.
on up.
You feel good?
Thank you. I feel good. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
I'm
That's
I'm
what's up.
excited for 2021
His
for sure.
I mean, obviously, the challenge of being able to be around people in order to shoot and to make videos. I mean, obviously that is huge, with COVID. But what about, have you been able to fill that space with like, how have you filled that time? How have you filled that void of shooting? What have you been working on? What have you been doing to
Well, this show is one thing I've been working on for
Okay. And this is
sure.
weekly, right? You do this
I like
every week?
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah. And I have big plans for sure. I mean, you're my third guest, which is really fucking crazy because the day, so basically I have a business coach, Danielle Bigby, shout out to her. And she was the one that really pushed me to even like do this show. And she was like, you need to look at the show as like, you need to focus on it every week. You're not just going on live and talking to your friends or whatever. Like you need to actually put effort into it. And then the minute she said that like changed my whole life. And then that day I was like, I'm gonna talk to Slug. I'm gonna get Slug
Yeah.
on my show. And then
Well,
that day you liked my Instagram TV, and I was like, yo, what is the universe?
you got it. I mean, you can't let me be any part of the bar that you're trying to set. Like, you
I
gotta shoot
mean,
way higher than that. Come on, let's get Kendrick on here. Let's go. Let's make this shit crack.
we will, of
What's
course.
next?
No, but I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah.
course. But like for the bar of my soul, you're pretty high up there.
I
You're
appreciate you.
definitely
I
pretty high
appreciate
up there.
that. I
It's
appreciate
pretty
that.
crazy.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that. Those are
Thank
very
you.
kind words.
Yeah.
Well,
By the way, what were
yeah.
you gonna say?
Oh, I was gonna mention, like, we've never met each other in person. This is the first time I've ever actually like spoken to you that wasn't like, my thumbs. And but originally you reached out and you were like, I'm gonna make a video for you. And then I looked at the videos that you made and I was like, I don't think I can afford you. And but you were adamant and about us making a video. And that was really validating to me because your shit is dope. And so
Thank
that,
you. Thank you so much.
well, thank you. And so that's when I was like, okay, let me just kind of like see what she's doing. And yeah, like everything you do, it looks really good. Like I'm really interested to see where you're gonna take this. Like you signed on with a
Thank you.
company, and that's big. Like so now it's gonna be like I'm gonna have to IG live your secretary just to get you on the IG live. I see where this is going, and I'm cool. I'm about it.
No,
You
never
know what I'm
that.
saying? Like, do your thing. Like, I'm all about it. I'm gonna watch you fly. It's cool, but I'm looking forward. I'm excited.
Thank you. No,
Oh,
honestly, that was like, that for the beginning of quarantine when we were like gonna make a video and then we didn't make the video and people were like, oh my God, whatever, stupid, let people talk to me in my head. I was like in my head about that for months after. I was like, how could I not have done a video for Atmosphere? What's wrong with me? So like, whatever you got the family connect no matter what, because we have to make some art for sure. We will make art. I
trust. Will make some art. Yes, I believe you. I believe you. Yeah, actually, people don't know, but we had discussed making a video. We talked about it, and there was a song on the Whenever album that you had an idea for that was super dope. I don't want to spill your idea just because that could still be something, or a location or something that's sitting in the bucket for you to use later.
Yeah.
But I remember being like, oh, that's pretty tight. It's just that it was super close to an idea that a homie of mine was currently just doing. And so I remember when I mentioned it to somebody at the label, the powers, they were like, yo, nah, this other dude is doing something similar to that. And I was just like, okay, I get it. But yeah, you got ideas, and I love that. I love seeing people make stuff happen with the shit that's inside of their brains, And you know what? I mean, obviously, you're not old and bitter and jaded like most of my friends. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like it's dope to me to see how when somebody, don't take this the wrong way, but when somebody younger is cracking ideas, it's not just an idea. There's like a whole wave of energy that's behind it that you provide with the idea, and that's that shit. Like a lot of, like myself included, and a lot of people who, who've been beating our head against the concrete for decades. We still get ideas, but sometimes we don't always have the desire to even get the fuck out of bed, much less go and try and make some shit happen. You know what I'm saying? It's like, fuck. So I'm looking at you. I depend on you to lead us into the future with dope fucking visuals. What else you want to talk about? I don't want to sit here and just shower you with compliments.
I feel like your music led me. Actually, I have something to talk about, because that brings me to a point. I feel like your music led me to this level of like where I could be. Like my high school yearbook quote was, "Oh ma, I promise I'm gonna be large." I didn't have a car, so I skipped that part. But I'm gonna go far with charisma and skill till they put my face on the $1 million bill. So, and like all those like little lyrics you had that were like super inspirational, they were part of the reason why I even believed in myself to do anything I'm doing now. Because I feel like the music you listen to when you're like 16, 17 years old, that's when you have the most time to listen to music and like really digest it. And so that was the time when I was like, you were the first discography I ever downloaded. So like every day, like on the train, like I would get hyped to like go and hear a new Atmosphere song I had never heard the day before, you know? But yeah, I feel like that's the time that like really shapes you for your future, is whatever you're doing at that time. So thank
I
you for
agree
giving
with
me
you.
the
Well,
tools.
thank you for taking the time to listen to what we were doing. And I agree with you about how at a specific age in your life, um, music that strikes you then will stay with you forever. You know, I think that even for myself, the music that I mean, I hear new music all the time, and people are always like, "Yo, what'd you think of this album and this album?" And now when I hear new stuff, most of the time, I won't say all the time, but most of the time, I hear it with an ear that is connecting to the study of it. I'm studying music because I don't know if anybody will ever make an album again that's going to hit me in that just complete emotional way that music hit me when I was younger. And that's not to say that
Right.
music isn't still being made. It is still being made. It's just that I've reached a point where like all music is like it's another class. It's another thing for me to study, to be like, oh, well, look at what that person did, or look what she did, or look what he did. You know, a lot of art really is like that. Like the art that's not is the stuff that I am still just kind of being curious about and delving into. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but a lot of like even with movies, it's like I don't know if movies are ever going to hit me the same way they hit me when I was somewhere between 16 and 20. You know what I'm saying? Same with books. You know, it's like I could read a book and be like, this was a really
Yep.
good book, but
1000%.
I don't know if that book's gonna like change my life. I mean, you know, I mean, and I'm not trying to generalize. Obviously, these things still exist and it's still possible, but I just think it's less common, you know. Um, and I think that's important though, because it speaks to what the mind is like at a certain age and how you're consuming and the things that you're consuming at that age, you know. And I think it's important to remember that we want to present shit for people to consume that is going to blow their minds and is going to push them to do the same thing. Because I think that's when most of us get that bug to create, is around that same age that we're being exposed to so many creatives that are blowing our minds. I I feel like I'm kind of rambling and talking in circles, and I apologize for that. That's the
Oh,
weed.
you no. I think everybody here doesn't mind listening to you ramble on in circles, because
Ah,
you have little gems in you got gems in your circle, man.
yo.
Don't forget about your gems. Um, but who were you listening to when you were like at that age of growing?
Oh man, Boogie Down Productions, KRS One. Uh, you know, this was back at a time where putting out music was not like it is now. You know, now an artist can make an album, and if they want to, they could drop it tomorrow. Whereas
Right.
back then, you know, making an album was a kind of a it was a longer cycle of shit. So artists, if an artist was prolific, that just meant that they were dropping an album every year or two, and maybe some extra bonus B-sides on the 12 inch. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like it is now. Now a prolific artist is like, you know, like there's a brother that I know named Muja Messiah. He drops a song every fucking Monday, and it's like, you know, that's 50 songs this year. You know what I mean? And they're all fly. You know what I'm saying? Like that's prolific nowadays. But back then, prolific was like Boogie Down Productions. Like KRS One was doing stuff. It seemed like every year he was dropping some new shit, and it affected me in more ways than just how I listen to rap, but it affected how I view what MCs do. He made me realize that, you know, an MC is somebody that's, it's not just entertainment. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not just rapping at you. He was rapping to you. He was talking to you. He was presenting you with these ideas and concepts. At least for me at that age specifically. You know, I'm sure brothers older than me was like, whatever this dude's doing, I ain't trying to hear him. You know, I'll play some Cameo or some shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but the way this guy was presenting ideas to me at that time, I was all about it. Same with Rakim. My favorite was Big Daddy Kane. He's probably my favorite.
Okay.
LL Cool J also was probably my favorite rapper of all time. Like and all these guys are my favorite rappers of all time. MC Light was one of my favorite rappers of all time. It's just that there was for different reasons. They all taught me different things. You know what I'm saying?
I fuck with that. Hmm.
You know, KRS One taught me how to speak to the listener. Big Daddy Kane taught me that you could be you could be smooth without being like you didn't have to be like the thing that I gathered from him is that you could be smooth but still be like raw. Like it doesn't have to be like the product doesn't have to be polished in order for you to be smooth. You know what I'm saying? Like I like that because I've never made a polished product. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so
That makes sense.
MC Light had me for sheer attitude. Like she had the type of arrogance and confidence that I still admire. I still admire it when I hear that. And Rakim was just, the wordsmith. Like he would say something and you would hear it and you would get the idea. And then like a week later, and he just, you could be cryptic without being, without having to be, without proving you're smarter than everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like Rakim was able to like really speak to me in an intelligent way, but he didn't make me feel stupid. He didn't make me feel dumb listening to him. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like he made me smarter by listening to him just by proxy. You know,
I literally feel like the way you're talking about all these people, how you're like, oh, he would talk to me, not at me, or like the intelligence factor. That's how I feel. I feel like we're talking over each other now, but I relate that to the way your music would make me feel, because like you don't even use big. It's not even about like the words you use. It's about the play on words. You know, that always are like in a different level. I feel.
I appreciate that. I try, man. Like this is not natural for me. This shit didn't come natural. Like like
Okay.
when I
You
was
have to put in your
when I
10,000 hours.
what's that? Oh, I've done my 10,000
You have to
hours.
put in your 10,000
I've
hours.
done I've done fucking 40,000. I've done 80,000 hours, and that's just it. Like when I was younger, it was obvious that I was not a natural MC. So I worked and worked and worked at it. You know what I'm saying? Like I battled the couch. I would battle the couch over and over just to get better
Are
at
you talking about
freestyling.
like pre-Overcast, or like what's your timeline with like Overcast to what you're talking about? Or this
Pre-Overcast,
is during?
definitely pre-Overcast. When I got to Overcast, stereotype. I was a good
You became you,
stereotype of an
you
MC.
said?
I was a no, not yet. I think on Overcast I was still a stereotype of what I thought a rapper was supposed to be. I don't think it was really
Okay.
till like somewhere around God Loves Ugly that I started to figure out my own voice. Maybe Lucy Ford in there
That
where
makes sense.
I started to find my own voice. And then I would say it wasn't until You Can't Imagine How Much Fun We're Having that I was like, okay, this is mine now. So now, like all that emo shit, that's mine. So now I can start to concentrate and focus on how to be a better rapper. I found my voice. That teach myself how to be a better MC. So it's funny how it works. I started off trying to be a great MC, and once I figured out, okay, I can rap pretty good, then I went to go find my voice. And then once I found my voice, I came back to be like, yo, okay, how can I rap better? And ever since then, I've been trying to learn how to rap better. You know what I'm saying? Like to be a better rapper. And that doesn't mean I've been trying to learn how to rap fast or how to be a spiritual, miracle, lyrical, none of that shit. What it means is how can I present ideas in ways that connect with people, not just in ways that they hear it and go, oh, that's clever, but I want to connect with people. I want to move the crowd. And I mean that in every way imaginable. I want to move their bodies. I want to move their hearts. I want to move them on the insides. I want to move the crowd. And that's been my,
You definitely do that.
that's been my goal. That's what I work at now. You know what I'm saying? That's what I've been working on for the last fucking 15 years.
Amazing job, man. Seriously. Like, are you even aware of how many people you've impacted? I feel like how humble you are, I don't think you realized.
It's not that I'm not aware of what people tell me. or when people say nice things to me, or when people, when people tell me what like my music has done for them. But I always try to remember, and I've said this before, that my my position is all of coincidence and even consequence, in a sense, because if you took me out of the equation, these people would still have found something. The reason they were impacted by us is because they were looking for impact. Like, we didn't get played on the radio and beat our music into your head until it impacted you. You found us. You were looking for us. Your
Yeah.
friend gave us to you on a mixtape. So with that said, that the majority of the audience be lifting. And so I can't be like, yo, yeah, we impacted a bunch of people. But what I can say is a lot of people who were looking to be impacted allowed us to be part of the ride. You know what I'm saying?
It was like a mutual open.
It was I believe that it worked is because we, musically, Anthony makes moods. Like, that's what he does. And everybody has moods. You know what I'm saying? And lyrically, I try to adjust to find the common line with his mood, and I try to write to that. I try to lean into the mood to find the song that should be with that mood. This is what I've been working on for the last 15 years. So when I talk about how I'm trying to be a better rapper,
Right.
this is what I'm talking about. I try to lean into that mood so that I can connect with somebody with an idea. And not specific to just me, but ideas that work for me, but also could work for, a 60-year-old man, or a 60-year-old woman, or a 20-year-old person. You know what I'm saying? It's like I try to, because there's parts of this world, a lot of them are based in pain, but everybody can relate to that. Everybody can relate to pain, and everybody can relate to the desire to not be in pain. And so if you look at the majority of our music, a lot of it rests within that. A lot of it rests within hope, or rests within trying to find something. No, I'm trying to be careful not to crack any bad puns with any of my actual song titles, but the
I
the
honestly
quest.
have an atmosphere lyric or song for like every mood of my life. So
Man,
go ahead, plug yourself.
no, I couldn't do that. I would not sleep well. But the bottom line is, we do this to either make you laugh, or make you cry, or make you feel something. You know what I mean? Like, I've never been good at just doing it to be cool. I've never been good at just doing it to like to kill the time. I want to. I would love to 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 reach a life where that's how I feel like I have to rap in order to I have to rap in order to stay alive. And I don't mean that from a financial perspective, but I mean, like, if I stop rapping, then what's left? You know, I have learned of new ways to fill that void with family, the last 10 years, with family, and with, fucking television or whatever. You know what I'm saying? There's ways to fill that void and get the same validation that I get from making my art. But if you took away me making my art, I don't really know what I'd be making. I don't know what my purpose would be, if that makes any sense. I got lucky, man. I got lucky that people wanted to hear what the hell I was doing. I got lucky that I met Anthony. I got lucky. Like, all of these things are I'm not supposed to say lucky. I'm supposed to say fortunate. I'm very fortunate in what we've been able to do, because, it wasn't necessarily supposed to happen like this. We were not a shooting star on our way to stardom. We never were. You know what I'm saying? Like, this came out of just straight up luck and desire. And I mean,
And
shit, man.
work, putting persistency, putting in the work.
It's funny when I admit to people that I was 30 years old when God Loves Ugly came out. Because at 30, that, especially back then, that was over the fucking hill for a rapper. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no,
And
I feel
And so for me to be 30 when that record came out, the record that kind of broke me to a larger audience, and then to be 30, 1 or 32 when Seven's Travels came out, you know what I mean? And shit, by the time I think I was like 36 when Lemons came out, you know what I mean? And so considering that
Wow.
moments those moments are, and that's why I always tell people like, yo, if you got some shit that you love to do, do it, because if you just keep doing it and doing it, some key is the person standing next to
Persistency is
you.
key.
Consistency is key. You know what I'm saying? Somebody is going to notice. You might not get rich or any shit like that, but somebody's going to be like, hey, man, I'm glad you did that. I'm glad you did that.
Yeah, 1000%. Do you know what a Saturn return is?
Yeah, I do. I made it through that shit.
Because I mean, what?
I survived that shit.
I mean, that's when God Loves Ugly came out for you, and that's like when like your rap career like blossomed to a larger audience. So I feel like there's something to be said about that too. Because I'm going through my Saturn return right now also. So I feel like these are like the years where your purpose really comes to fruition the most.
I don't even know if I was supposed to survive my Saturn's return. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, not only was I fortunate that my art and that my art became appreciated, and that I was able to, like, quit my job and just be a full-time rapper, but just the fact that, they didn't find me, face down in a jug of booze. You know what I'm saying? It's like I was lucky to get through that. Don't drink, kids. Kids watching us.
No, 1000% though. That's a very important thing to talk about. Because I feel like, yeah, you talk about that a lot in your music too. Like, it's weird how, like, because you go through so many different elements of life, I guess, in your music. So it's like whatever sticks to people will have different reasonings for sticking to them. But like addiction is definitely a common theme in your lyrics, and it, like, and it makes sense that I think that you've probably helped a lot of people throughout their addictions, just from speaking so openly in a song where someone's like, yo, is he talking out of my brain right now? So,
well, hopefully
our struggles
lot,
help other people go through their struggles.
And hopefully people, the listeners, will be as fortunate as I was, and they'll reach the next phase of their life, which is fucking animals, giraffes, baby birds, and penguins, and shit like that, because that was what on the other side for me. You know what I'm saying? When I did get through a lot of my bullshit, what was waiting for me on the other side was like, I couldn't have imagined it. I couldn't have predicted it. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
right.
You never could have told me that when I was 25. You couldn't have told me at 45 I'd be having my fourth son. You know what I'm saying? Like that.
Congratulations.
I wouldn't have believed you. Oh, thank you. Well, that was a few years ago. I don't even know how old I am anymore. I got to do the math. I'm 48. And
counting.
To know, like, to me, that's my, at least for me, that's my real story, is not what I was able to accomplish as an MC. I had that story already. Now my story is what struggles did I get through and accomplish as a person? You know what I'm saying? Like, what type of struggles did I face, inner struggles? What type of inner revolutions did I have to go into and go through in order to just become, like, alive, but also a better person, a better father, a better husband, a better neighbor, a better, shit like that.
Right. It's funny because you said that you're a dad rapper now, but I feel like in a way you've kind of always been a dad rapper, because
I mean, I always had
like Little
jokes.
Man, me. Yeah, and also didn't, like, Jacob was born when you were super young, right? And you, like, always talked about your relationship with him.
I had Jacob.
That was his name, right?
That's his name. And I was 21, so I wasn't a child by any means, but it still felt super young to be
Right.
Wasn't feeling my way through life. I had to figure it out. And when that happens, when you have a kid, you don't have the choice. You have to figure it out. You know what I mean? You have to grow the fuck up. And so that did become part of my rhymes. You know what I'm saying? Now that's not to say that I still didn't fall down a lot of wells and fall into a lot of holes, off a lot of cliffs, even as a young parent. You know, that was a huge struggle, was figuring out how to, you know, keep myself alive, but also help his mother keep him alive. You know what I'm saying? It's um
Right.
but you know, in hindsight, hindsight is 2020, copyright. In hindsight, a lot of that informed what kind of person I you know, it informed what my ceiling was. And all your struggles kind of do, you know, when you are able to, even if you can't win the match, but you're able to come face to face with the match and perform the match. And even if you lose this match, that's not always the key. The key is, how did you address it? How did you put your head down and go into it? That's what informs you of what you're. And you go, okay, maybe these muscles were not strong enough, so I'm going to go and work on these muscles so that the next time I come into this ring, I have a better shot. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like even all of the I'm trying to stay away from the word pitfalls, but even all the pitfalls that I fell into. Pitfalls is weird, man. It's like that's a word we use to say the holes that were there that we happen to fall into. When the truth is, most of us, many of us, um, we dig a lot of our own holes to fall into. You know what I'm saying? And so it's hard to call them pitfalls. But a lot of the holes that I fell into, I had to fall into those holes in order to know what I had to do differently next time. Again, that's the
Yeah,
weed talking.
the fall no, but the pitfalls are there to be like the pitfalls are there intentionally because we need to get through. It's an obstacle course. Life's an obstacle course, I feel like. So, you know, pitfalls
Life
the
is an
video game is a
obstacle
comment I
course.
just saw. That's facts.
Life's an obstacle course. Whatever's possible. Obstacle. Lots to go. Haas and Pepper. Dr. Pepper. Cops with pepper spray. Sorry.
I love it. I'm looking forward to hearing that on the next tape.
Yeah, no, that's never gonna happen. No, no.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm blessed to have it on
You
here.
know what? I wouldn't even be surprised if I haven't already rhymed Dr. Pepper with Haas and Pepper. Like, that sounds like some dumb dad joke I would have made somewhere along the way.
Funny. Okay. Has your writing process changed over the years, or is it like more or less the same? And also,
Nah,
to go back to before, you were talking about you and like how Ant will make the beat. Like, is it always that he makes the beat first and then you go off of his beat, or like what's your working style like period with him?
nowadays it is like that. He makes the beat first, and then I go off of that. You know, back in the day when we first started, I would write rhymes all week long, and then go to his house on Sundays and find the beat to put these rhymes to. So oftentimes I would write rhymes to other people's instrumentals, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and then I would go over to his house and we would find a beat that I felt like fit the idea. And you can hear that. You can hear that on Overcast. You can hear that on Lucy Ford. You can hear that even on God Loves Ugly. You can hear that those rhymes might not have been intended for that beat, but it worked. And we captured moments instead of capturing, you know, full fleshed out songs. You know, I look at God Loves
Is
Ugly
there
and I
like a
think of,
specific song? Is there a specific song that happened to where you're like, this was not meant for this, but somehow it worked?
oh, sure, man. I could probably go through most of that shit. Song About a Friend. Um,
Okay.
you know, I would say probably half, I would say all of Overcast. I would say Ford was like that. I would say maybe half of God Loves Ugly was written to beats. Maybe half of Seven's Travels was written to beats. But You Can't Imagine was when I was, that's when I started just writing to beats, period. Like you give me the beat,
Okay.
and then I'm going to think about what goes there. I was still real clunky with it though. You know, it wasn't until probably Lemons that we were like really synced together. Now, to be fair, when I was writing the beats with You Can't Imagine, I was writing at his house because I was touring so much at that point in my career that I would come home from tour and go straight to his house and write because I didn't want to write on tour. When I wrote on tour, I got songs like the ones on Seven's Travels where you're talking a lot about traveling and about being on tour. And I looked at
Right.
that and was like, man, the
Wouldn't you guys
majority
be
of,
on, weren't you guys on tour together though?
nah,
You're
Ant
saying
wasn't
that like
touring yet.
after tour you'd go to his house.
Anthony wasn't touring with us yet
Oh,
at the
okay.
time. Yep. DJ Abilities
Okay.
toured with me for my first couple of years. And then Mr. Dibbs
Okay.
became my tour DJ for a few years. Ant didn't come out with us until You Can't Imagine. That tour actually was when we put that record out, that's
Oh,
when he
wow.
started touring with us. Yeah. But, you know, once we hit Lemons, him and I both had put ourselves into the positions of privilege of being able to spend more time together making music. And that's when we got real synced up. That's when he'd be like, today you're be like today, and I'd be like, okay. And I'd sit down and I would pen out a song and I would spend 4 hours. And so whatever I got in 4 hours, I would lay it down and that would be the skeleton. I'd take that home and look at it. And then the next time I come back over, I would make some adjustments or I would redo a verse or I would change the hook or whatever. But that's when we were like, our process became way more intentional. Now, our process is 100% intentional. Every single thing we do together. And I don't mean, I'm not there when he makes the music, but when he gives me the music, we sit there, we talk about it, we break it down, we look at it from different angles. I tell him, here's what I'm thinking, I'm going to go do this. He goes, I don't know. And then he gives some insight and then we come up with the idea. Then I sit down here at my house and I write it. And I don't write it with him anymore, but he knows what I'm writing now. And as I get some of it going, I send to him and go, hey, what do you think of the voice? Am I using the right approach? Whatever, just to get his insight now, because I don't want him to tell me after it's done, like, nah, I want you to change it, the first, your approach, like, or some shit like that. Like, so we get it going together in a way that's like much more of a collaborative effort.
And does he have a say in like what the lyrics are going to be about or like the content? Do you guys have that conversation or he just gives you the beats and you free flow?
No, he's cool with usually whatever I bring. There's probably a few times in our career where he's been like, yeah, you sure you want to write about that? In the way that you probably would. He's never been like, that's too personal, don't write. More like, that's kind of, you want to do that? You know what I'm saying? Like he'll stop me from doing anything that's just stupid. But most often he doesn't really care because I believe that he trusts the artists he works with, not just me, but if he's working with a rapper,
right,
then he trusts what they're going to do. So he really just cares about the sound. Like if you hit those first couple of bars and you don't sound right to him, how it should sound on those, then he'll be like, stop. No, you got to do it more like this. Or he'll be like, can you be more like Rakim? That's one of our things often. He'll say,
right.
can you tone it down? The beat doesn't need all that extra shit. Just tone it down and just say your shit. You know what I'm saying? That's why I think he loves working with Merce, because Merce always knows how to hit the beat. Like there's no, Merce is so natural with that shit. He always knows how to hit those first 4 bars. And that's all Ant really cares about. After those first 4
Felt
bars.
is the 3 of you guys, right? Like he
Felt,
produced for Felt, right?
Yes. He produced Felt 2 and Felt 4. The first Felt was produced by Grouch, and the second Felt was produced by A$AP Rock.
Okay.
But yeah, Ant just wants it to sound right. As far as whatever you're talking about, he trusts you to talk about whatever the fuck you want to talk about. He just wants it to sound right. He wants a hook that sounds good to him. You know what I'm saying? Like, because he's a producer. You know, he's not a rapper. Rappers, we're rapping for other
Right.
rappers. You know what I'm saying? Like we're rapping for other rappers, or we're rapping for people that wear headphones. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I mean, I can't say all rappers rap for that, but that's why and that rap was dope, and I was on to be like, oh, that rap was dope. You know, it's so. But Ant, he just wants it to sound right, which I appreciate, because that means I have somebody looking over me. I have somebody who will let me know
Right.
that I'm being too hyper, or that I'm being too calm, or that the hook is bad, whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I feel like and it goes the other direction too with the beats. Like sometimes I'll tell him like, yeah, I don't know. Can you take those drums out and try something different? Or, you know, and he's open to me, but I think that comes from, you know, a long history of working with me, that he knows that we're on the same page and we have the same goals. I don't know how he would fare with like somebody who hasn't worked with him for this long, asking him to take some drums out. He'd probably laugh at you. But I think with me,
Right.
he trusts, you know, what I'm trying to accomplish.
Of course, it's been a long ride for you guys together. So, was there ever a time where you guys were like almost like, you know, not gonna work together anymore, or it's always been like steady?
As far as I know, nah. It's always been steady. Like you know,
Okay.
you know what I mean? I mean, I can't speak for him. But I believe, based off of the type of friendship that we have, like if if I woke up tomorrow and my voice was gone and I couldn't make another rap, we would probably just hang out and watch movies. You know what I'm saying? It's like our friendship
You're
is,
besties.
it's so far beyond music at this point. You know what I'm saying? We have spent so much time together, and in many ways we are very similar people. Even before we met, when we first met, we were drawn to each other because there was just like, it was one of those things where it was like, how have we never met before? Like we have
Right.
very, very many similarities. You know what I'm saying? It's like our birthdays are literally next door to each other. He's born on the 6th and I was born on the 7th. Like we're supposed to be
Damn, I'm
neighbors. You know what I'm
surprised you
saying?
don't have an album that's like a Virgo something.
We had a song called Virgo a couple years ago. Pretty good one, actually. Like we
But an
don't have a lot of,
I'm saying like a whole album that's like something Virgo.
yeah. I mean, the word probably, if you did one of those word aggregators, you would probably find that the word Virgo has popped up in our songs more often than we probably have an excuse for. You know what I'm saying? Like it's one of those things that it does. We do come back to that.
Oh,
You know what
I
I'm saying?
know.
Like,
Every time I meet a Virgo, I'm like, you know, atmosphere? It's the first thing I think whenever I meet a Virgo.
what do
Yeah.
you mean you need a
No, real
Virgo?
shit.
What are you making human sacrifices or some shit? Why would you need a Virgo? Oh, did you
No,
say meet a Virgo? I was like, whenever I need a Virgo, I'm like, holy shit, what the
every
fuck
time
you need a
I
Virgo for?
meet a Virgo.
Got it. Yeah, yeah.
No. No. I don't know if I necessarily need any zodiac signs, you know.
I don't need.
We
I
all
need
there's like
zero.
different times in life.
I know
Yeah.
there's. I need less zodiac signs in my life. No offense to all you zodiac signs.
But you got enough in your life. I feel it. I feel it. Um okay. Oh, I have one more question.
What is it?
So, actually two. So one, Lucy was so genius, like the whole concept of like the woman being the devil and Lucifer, Lucy. I guess like, can you just expand more on the inspiration behind that, and like just having a reoccurring character in all your songs, like that shit is so fire, and I feel like nobody's really done that.
For
So
me, it was kind of like I stole the idea from, like, I don't know, movies or some shit. Like in my head, it was like having a reoccurring character on a cartoon or on a TV show, because I wasn't even seeing it through the lens of what my songs were. I was seeing it through the lens of the actual scenes that took place, you know. And to be clear, like, the devil wasn't necessarily a woman. The devil was my own struggles with codependencies and addictions and just frustration, you know. And the whole thing, like, now in hindsight, when I look back on it, it's almost regrettable that I wasn't able to really expand on it in a way that was like that could tell the whole story a little bit better, so that people, to just give people less room to misinterpret on. You know, I've learned I really don't like interpreting my shit for people, because I've learned that their interpretations tend to be better than what I actually originally meant. And so I fall back and let people just have what they have, you know. But once in a while, I step in and go, well, actually, Lucy was the devil inside of me. And I needed a
Wow.
place,
Okay.
I needed a place to aim my angst or my frustration. And so I personified it through this character, Lucy. But if you really go through and listen to it, you can see all the struggles with Lucy were really struggles I was having with myself. But it didn't
Okay.
feel, the story didn't feel like it was as interesting if I just did it like that, if that makes any sense. When I finally got to the concept of "fuck you, Lucy," that was not to Lucy Ford in the character of Lucy Ford. That was to the concept of me using Lucy. That was my song to break away from mentioning Lucy. So when I was saying "fuck you, Lucy," I was saying "fuck you of Lucy." I don't want to write about this.
Fuck your demons.
I wrote a breakup song for my crutch, which was writing these breakup songs, if that makes any sense. You know what I'm saying? Lucy was always not a person,
Yes.
but Lucy was my crutch. Lucy was the thing that I would write about. Stories. I was trying to stories and tell stories and shit. And so I was writing first person, sometimes third person stories, and I was incorporating this character, but the character was me. When I finally said "fuck you, me," obviously I'm not saying "fuck you" to me, but I'm saying, man, fuck the part of me that keeps relying on this crutch to write songs. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to get out of that. I wanted to break away from that shit. I did it. Like I say, it's kind of regrettable how I went about it. If I could go back, I would have extended it a little bit longer. And I would have done a better job of, finally landed the plane, I would have done a better job of hoping to translate what I was really trying to say, what I was really trying to do, you know, because I feel like a lot of people gravitate
It's
to,
never too late.
no, you're right, you know, but I feel like a lot to the Lucy character as a way for them to project anger towards somebody that they were frustrated with. And that makes me feel bad that anybody would ever use my music and weaponize it in a way to hurt each other, if that makes any sense. You know, I wanted to make
Honestly,
music. I wanted to make music that made us understand each other, or helped me to understand myself, or helped me to understand other people. I wanted connection. And some of those songs were the opposite of connection, meaning people were still connecting through them, but they were connecting with the parts that were pushing away. They were connecting with the parts that were, you know, instead of using it to bond, they were using it to push things away, if that makes any sense. And it wasn't my whole shit. I realized this early on, and I started making, you know, obvious attempts at getting out of it. But there's a handful of songs that I wish didn't exist for that reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, in the sense of
like what?
oh, the easy one is a song called Primer. A lot of people called it Trailer Park Chicken,
Called
but
what?
people on the internet used to call it Trailer Park Chicken. But the real name of the
What
song
song
was
is it?
Primer. It was the shit, man. It was the beginning of Lucy. Basically, it was the I own the Camaro and the mobile home. Where the fuck you gonna go song. It was a hidden track on Overcast. It was a bonus track, a hidden track on Overcast. And within a few shows, I stopped performing that shit because I saw that they were using it wrong. They were using just the anger from the song. Uh, they weren't seeing the resolution, if that makes any sense.
Right. Is that because I asked you, I like tweeted you like 10 times. Like every time I saw you in concert, I was like, he's gonna play Fuck You Lucy this time. He's gonna play Fuck You Lucy this time. And you never played it. And then one time you tweeted me back and you were like, we haven't played that like since '09. Like, good luck. Like, that's not happening or some shit. And so did you have that same feeling towards Fuck You Lucy that you did towards Primer after a while?
I definitely I did, but I've made amends with that song once, because here's the thing, man, the song's relationships evolve even for us, even for me. My relationship to my music evolves. And now I'm able to perform Fuck You Lucy without it being about aggression, without it being about anger. I figured out a way to find my character on stage with that song in a way that I can fit it into the big picture of whatever arc we're trying to create with the show. When we do our shows, we write them out like albums. We decide and choose what songs. People will be like, why would you play that song? Why would you play that song? And it's like, well, because it's a perfect transition from that one and that one. Like we're it's like an album to me where it's like, well, we're not going to do just all the ones you like. I'm going to do ones that I want to put in there to help me define whatever it is I'm trying to communicate here tonight. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, so I have figured out how to adjust Fuck You Lucy in a way that allows us to fit it. And oftentimes now, if you hear Fuck You Lucy, it'll probably be next to this song called The Best Day. And also, you're probably not going to hear the second verse of Fuck You Lucy, because that verse I had to stop performing because I couldn't figure out.
I think that's what happened when I saw it.
I couldn't figure out how to make that verse make sense. I tried, but I couldn't figure out how to make that verse fit the narrative. The other thing is Fuck You Lucy goes really good with Pour Me Another. So sometimes when we do Pour Me Another, we'll attach it to Fuck You Lucy.
That's a great double trouble for sure.
So now it's just a matter of, does it fit the narrative of the evening? Whatever it is we're trying to present tonight, does it fit? Anthony likes doing it because him and Bill get to do some pretty interesting sounds in that song, because there's, kind of low key, there's sounds in that song that are weird. There's that weird noise that starts at the very beginning, and then there's the female voice that starts singing, and they're able to use those sounds and to scratch and do their jazz odyssey shit that they be doing on stage. You know what I'm saying? I think that song is kind of fun for Ant and Bill, so they're always down when we do that. And the drums are just fucking massive on that song, man. When we perform that song, that one and Scapegoat, those are the ones where when you play that in a club, all the confetti that's been sleeping on top of the PA for the last couple of months, ever since fucking Tech 9 was there, or when it was somebody would blow some shit up in the club, shit gets on top of the PA and in the rafters. But when we come in and play those songs, it shakes everything, and we start getting confetti and dust and shit falling on us from whatever's been going on in the club for the last 6 months. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's almost like that song cleans the rafters for the clubs,
So you were supposed to be on tour this year, right? So
yeah, we were going to do a felt tour.
How did that affect you? So how did that affect you, like creatively, spiritually, mentally,
Well, lucky for me, I have plenty of shit to do. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel for artists who are like, when you took away the tour, you took away their livelihood, you took away and you took away what they do. You know what I'm saying? Like touring is what I do, but when the tour went away, luckily for me, my wife is able to keep working. And so we're still, we still got food on the table and shit. But
what does your wife do?
Too. she does some stuff. I don't know how
She does
public
some
I like to
stuff.
get about that kind of shit. Yeah.
Okay. Got you. I actually think you told me before. Now I remember. Anyways, continue.
And so we needed somebody to do the distance learning with the kids. And so here I am, like, I got that all day. I'll sit here and teach my kid how to read and shit. Like, that's great. You know what I mean? Like, and it's showing
Mr.
me a
Dad
lot about
Rap in all his
myself.
glory. Yeah.
Yeah. And so if I was touring right now and they had to go through distance learning, then my wife wouldn't be able to work. It would just, it's like everything kind of fell into place and still works. Our machine still works. And I know, we're very fortunate with that, because a lot of people obviously are really, really going through a lot of shit. And it's not to say we're not going through shit, but we are some of the fortunate ones in that I still have a purpose, and I'm still allowed to write songs. You know what I'm saying? It's like I can stay up tonight until 2 a.m. and make a song if I really don't want to sing. Like,
Right.
But I'm just trying to lead with gratitude. I'm trying to focus on gratitude to calm any anxieties that I might have about the future. And that's a privilege that I get to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because not everybody gets to do that right now.
What's with the luck? Why do you prefer the word fortunate to lucky?
Because if I was lucky,
because you said that a few times.
If I was lucky, I'd hit the lottery. You know what I'm saying? If I was lucky, a bird wouldn't shit on my shoulder. You know what I'm saying? It's like, lucky is like a thing that happens to other people. Fortunate is a thing that happens to me.
Okay. I like that. I like that. I don't know if anyone's really lucky. I think
I put in the work.
What were you gonna say?
I put in the work to be at the right place in the right time to be fortunate. You can't really put in work to be lucky, but you can put in work so that if the pieces do fall in place, use of it. You know what I'm saying? Luck can happen to anybody, but fortune only happens to the people that are really, really trying to get it.
Yeah. With the persistency, man. Persistency makes you fortunate, I feel, in whatever it is that you want to do.
Can you hear my bones creaking?
I feel.
When I move around, I go, you hear it all cracking, all old and shit. Mad old.
What's next for you?
What's next? I'm trying to figure out what to do with my COVID hair. Like, it's at a space now where either I'm gonna take a clippers and I got one back there. I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna shave it off, or I'm gonna grow it out and get a ponytail. Like, I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do. Like, I got a haircut in like August, and it was pretty fucked up then. Like, my hair was fucked up because this is my first haircut since COVID. And now I'm back to that space where I'm like, oh, it's getting fucked up again. But because of how popular COVID happens to be in Minnesota right now, I'm not really trying to go and get my hair cut by nobody. You know what I'm saying? I can't let my wife do it because she'll give me another mohawk.
You don't want to be on that level right now.
Nah, I mean, not right now. You know what I'm saying? Not right now. But the problem with longer hair is that you got to start washing it. Man, I'm not really big on maintenance. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like to moisturize like my elbows and my legs and shit, but washing my hair, that shit's whack. Fucking when your hair's short, you ain't gotta wash it. You just rinse and go. You wash it like once every 2-3 weeks. Right now, if I don't wash my hair every other day, I start to look like I got Noxzema in my hair or some shit. Shit is out of control. Is that still a thing? Is there still Noxzema?
I feel like tomorrow you're gonna come back on Instagram with a shaved head.
I might. I should do it. I should.
Yeah, I feel like that's what's gonna happen. Yeah, it sounds like a good post phone convo activity. Yeah. Also, so not to get too sad. But how did Idea's death, like, did he affect your how did his death affect your musical process afterwards?
Huh. I mean, I guess I
And
would
do you
say
ever
the
feel
biggest
him? Do you ever
effect,
like get like signs from him?
I don't know, man. I get all kinds of weird shit, so I don't know what's coming from where half the time. Like I have some kind of
Okay.
shit that happens over here in the peripheral of I even went to the doctor to be like, why does this keep happening? So I have some shit happening in my peripheral, and so I don't know if my dead homies are talking to me or if I'm just getting old, but I don't know if it matters because why isn't it all just kind of the same? You know, the way I see it is your dead homies talk to you whenever you want them to, you know, and idea being the one that we're discussing right now, but really even the ones that aren't rappers or even the ones that weren't, we're not, super talented, mega awesome artists in some sort, just even the homies that were just down for you, they could talk to you, you just have to be available to catch that energy, or you have to manifest, you have to hear them. And I get that from almost all of my dead friends, but also my own father, and my grandparents. You know what I'm saying? It's like I don't think that it's necessarily special as much as I think it's just me being connected to my, me being able to connect to my thoughts in a way to open up to just just try to understand what some of those people would think or do think about whatever it is I'm working on. Now, in regards to music, if that's the thing we're talking about or the thing that I'm working on, I don't often connect with my grandfather when I'm writing a song, but I do think that a connection to Mikey idea. You got to ask yourself, what would they think of this? You know what I'm saying? What would they think of this? And dude was very opinionated, and he was very good at being very direct and letting you know what he thinks of some shit. You know what I'm saying? And so it's not that hard to go, yeah, he wouldn't like this one. But it won't stop me from making it. I never made my music
Right.
to appease him per se. It was always good to be
Right.
a yes man who was there to let you know, yeah, the chorus is all right, you know what I'm saying? Or oh, you just rhymed man with plan. You really feel okay doing that? You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, shouldn't
Right.
really. Anyway, okay.
How old were you when your dad died?
Oh man, that was 2006. So I was 34. I was 33.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, my dad died 6 years ago, but like the like listening to yesterday's before and after my dad died were like two completely different songs, you know? Like now it's like I'll cry anytime I hear it. Like I skip over that song now, but before it was like, oh, it's fine. You know? Now it's like too much. That's too much for me. So,
Real,
interesting.
that
But it's good.
connection that you have with the song, obviously it's more of a connection about how you feel towards your father. And so I feel thankful that you're able to find that through a song of ours. You know what I'm saying? Like when people are, because I have songs like that, not songs I've made, but other people have made. But when I hear it, I want to cry because I see it
What
as
song?
it's called the Ballad of Dorothy Parker. And I see it as a
Oh,
song
oh, yeah,
about,
yeah. You cut off.
oh, it's okay. I see it as a song about um, moving past and letting an old part of yourself go. You know what I'm saying? And when I hear that song, it'll always bring me back to certain moments in my life where I knew I had to move past and let certain things go. You know, and when an artist can do that, that's important. But you got to remember, what's mostly important is that you're there to accept that feeling. It's not the artist. It's not the artist that's important. It's not Prince. It's not the Prince song. It's not Atmosphere with that Yesterday song. That's not the important part. The important part is that you are able to submit to those feelings and to deal with yourself in that moment, in that space, in that feeling, you know? Because a lot of people don't know how to do that. A lot of people don't know how to submit to a song or a book, or to submit to themselves, to allow themselves to be sad. You know what I'm saying? People are scared to be sad. People, they do all kinds of shit. They do drugs and drink, and they fuck, and they bike, and they exercise, and they fucking eat, and they do all these things to keep themselves from feeling sad. And I just want you to know, you can do all those things and even still feel sad, because feeling sad is good. It's okay. So you could still drink and do drugs and do whatever you want without connecting it to feeling sad. And then what you do is you allow to learn how to feel sad, so that from now on, when you feel sad, you don't immediately go for a drink. You go for a drink because you want to feel happy and have spirits and hang out with your friends, not because you're sad. You know what I'm saying? It's like, fucking to get rid of sadness, to cure sadness, is not going to bring anything good to your world. You know what I'm saying? Fucking should be for fucking, and that's that. And drinking should be for drinking, and enjoying fucking cupcakes should be because you love cupcakes, not because you're trying to cure sadness. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
1,000,000,000%. And when you want to be sad, you should be sad to be sad too, because like,
yes, because that's important. You should. Being sad is fucking awesome. Straight up, man. Listen, man, straight up. I was here in this fucking house on it was Memorial weekend, and it was also shit, man. It was the day they murdered George Floyd. And I had not yet heard about them murdering George Floyd. It was earlier in that day. I had not heard the news yet. And because it was on, the same, it was the day my father died. It was like the day before. And so I was going through photos of myself as a child, my siblings as a child, my father, and there was nobody in the house. And I fucking cried, dude. Like, and it wasn't like a, I'm sad. It was like, dude, I was howling like a fucking, I've never know what to call. Never have happened if there'd have been a single other person anywhere in this house. But I was in the basement where I record. I should have recorded it because the noise was insane, and I couldn't stop. And I did it for like 20 fucking minutes of just like, I don't even, like, kind of like a movie. You know what I'm saying? When you see a Bad Lieutenant and Harvey Keitel does that weird fucking noise in that movie, man, I think I'd made that same fucking noise, but louder, times 10. And afterwards, have never most relieved. I just biked 30 fucking miles. You know what I'm saying? Like, I felt like I lost fucking 10 pounds from that cry. It was out of control. And not that I didn't already know that crying was good for you, but whew, that one was insane. I can't believe I just remembered that. And I don't know why I'm talking about it on your fucking IG live. But just to be said, just to be said, don't be scared to be sad. There's a lot to be sad about. This world is full of things to be sad about. So it's okay to be sad about some of it. Just try not to lose yourself in it. Don't lose yourself in nothing, man. There's too much going on everywhere to pick any one thing to lose yourself in. Just try to spread yourself loosely around all of it. Just lose a little bit of yourself in everything. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes, that's the best way to go. Sprinkle little droplets. Do you know your life path number? Do you want to know your life path number?
I don't even know what that is. I'm not sure if I want to know that. I don't know if I don't. Yeah,
it's really quick.
I don't want it.
You don't want to know it? You don't
Text it to
care?
me. Send it to me in a DM. I don't want to say it over the internet because I don't even
Okay.
know what
No
it
one
is.
else needs to know your
It's
life
like,
path number. It'll be a
yeah, I'm
secret between me
saying
and
it's
you.
like you're about to drop my social security number online or some shit. Just chill, chill.
No. But okay, I got you. I'll secretly send it to you. Um, so on that note, I obviously have to acknowledge the way I got put onto your music was from one of my best friends in the world, Grace Beverly Adam. This is her. She's here today. And she succumbed to the sadness that she had in her heart and killed herself. And this was 4 years ago. And this was over Thanksgiving. And she was the only person I knew that was a bigger Atmosphere fan than I was. So she's like dying in the heavens right now watching this. But I bring that up to say that, you know, I know the holidays are a sad time. And if anyone out there is watching and they feel some type of way, just, you know, reach out to your friends and know that there's no reason to do it because the people on earth will miss you. And yeah, Grace would fucking die. I don't know if you remember, there was a girl at Higher Ground. You played in Brattleboro, Vermont, and this was like 11 years ago. And I guess you like walked through the venue and she was like taking a shot in the car. And so she comes back and they're like, "Oh, you missed Slug." And then you come out and she goes, "Slug!" And you just put your hands out and she just jumps into your arms. Do you remember that? It's okay if you don't, but that
I
was her.
she up in my arms like a kid. Like was I holding her in the air like a kid?
Yes. Yeah, you were flailing her around.
I wonder if that's how I hurt my back.
Maybe. Maybe she's stuck with you for life now.
Nonetheless, I appreciate Grace for introducing me to her friends, and I appreciate the fact that, you know, we're able to connect over this. I'm sorry that she's not here in the physical. Uh, she's made her transition, but I see her on your shoulder there. So, one love, Grace.
Yes, Gracie. Thank you. That really means a lot to me. So, wow. He said her name. I can't believe it. Anyways, we can penguin it up now. If what's your favorite what's your is the penguin your spirit animal, or like if you were any animal in the animal realm, what animal would you be?
That's a good question. Um, my son is a fox. My other son is an owl. My wife is an eagle. Um, my youngest son is an ice tiger. I don't
Oh
even know
wow.
what that means. I don't even know what an ice tiger is, but that's what he is.
How do you know he's an
It's
ice tiger?
because it's just how it is. It's what it
Okay.
is, you know. Uh,
I love it.
I guess I always kind of felt like I was like some sort of either some sort of like furry thing or some sort of bird, you know. Like I always had this running joke with a couple of my friends that you could fit people into three categories. They're either amphibians, birds, or horses. And so
Okay.
out of those three, I'm probably a bird. I'm probably some kind of bird. It's all in the face. You know what I'm saying? So maybe I'm an owl,
Okay.
or maybe I'm a fucking ostrich. Maybe I'm an ostrich. I'm not sure. Somebody just
I
said a
feel like you
furry
fly.
bird, a penguin. Maybe I'm a penguin, and maybe that's why penguin is my safe word.
I really think you could be a penguin.
I'll take it. I'm a big ass penguin. I'll tell you what. I am a big ass fucking penguin, but I'll be a penguin.
I love it. And penguins are super into their families too, and like, they take care of their own. So like it makes sense with the whole dad rap aesthetic, like your daddy penguin. You know what I mean? Papa
I'm I'm
penguin.
I'm with it. I'm with it. I'm with it. I can see it. I'll have my kid put together some sort of like I'll have him Photoshop my head on a penguin's body and see what that shit looks like. And then I'll tell
Oh,
Ant,
I'd
yo,
love to see it.
this gotta be the cover of the next record. Ant will shit his pants. Man, no, stop mentioning animals in the songs. Knock it off. I'm not allowed to make any more animal references or any more Star Wars references. Apparently, I've made a ton of Star Wars references, which I don't understand how that could happen without me noticing, but I believe him. But yeah, he's like, you're always making
Yeah,
Star Wars
those
references.
go right over my head. I wouldn't even
And I
notice
was
the
like,
Star Wars references.
I was like, when was the last Star Wars reference? And he said, you said Stormtrooper on the Halloween album. And I'm like, did I? And he said,
Okay.
yeah, you said some shit about the Stormtroopers will force you to use the Force. And I was like, oh shit, but that's a hot fucking reference. Like that's tight. But then there was another one on the Felt record. Merce said, R2D2, I'm fly as well. And Ant's right. There's fucking Star Wars references everywhere. I don't even know what to do about that. I'm a Star Wars fan. I am. And I got kids, which is why there's Star Wars references in my shit. And that's why there's, animal references. I should just write children's stories. Maybe a children's album. Maybe I'll make a kids record, a rap album for kids. You know what I'm saying?
I love
Like
that.
it's been
Are your
done.
sons learning to rap?
Um, the 3-year-old has rap hands. He'll sit there and do this shit. He's the one that's like, anytime there is a hip hop song, he's like, is that you? And I'm like, nah, that's not me. I wouldn't play my shit around the house. But he does rap hands because I'll be rapping along with Cool Keith or some shit, and he'll pick up on the hands. The other two, yeah, they rhyme, but not because they want to be rappers, but I think it's just because to them, why wouldn't you rhyme? Everybody fucking rhymes. You know what I'm saying? And so, but yeah, you know what? There's been children's albums before that are rap albums, but I could maybe write one that actually like goes somewhere with the storytelling, or maybe I'll theme out a whole story and make each song like a different scene or some shit like that, and tell like a whole story. That could be a good pet project for me to work on during COVID. Huh. I'm
Cool,
glad
I
we had
love
this
it.
conversation.
Yes. I'm so happy. I feel honored that I put a little spark of inspiration on your plate.
Right on.
Let's get it.
All right, Penguin. Well,
Well,
listen.
have a beautiful. Yes.
I'm gonna go so I can have some dinner. But thank you for taking the time to talk to me. Thank you for having
Thank
me.
you.
Thank
Yes.
you for having me. I'm happy to be the third guest. 3 is the magic number. I'm with that.
It is.
I'll make sure to try to. I'm gonna try to check in once in a while on a Tuesday just to see how many people you got watching, see how far you're blowing up. And then I can always be like, I was there early. Those people that are getting
Thank
YouTube just to
you.
type first. I'll be like third. I'm gonna show up in the comments just saying third.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful evening.
Thank you back.
Talk
Thank
to you
you.
soon.
You too. Have a good night. All right. Peace.